wait for Ainsley to dial in. I guess she'll phone in and Debbie will catch it. But, so anyway, I'm Alan Kratz. I'm on the Community Resilience Partnership team, and I'm delighted to be here tonight with Debbie Grimmick, who works with me as the service provider team, and as I mentioned, Ainsley Morrison will be joining us. So during the next hour, it's very exciting to be with all of you to talk about how the town of Bucksport has opportunities to enroll in the Community Resilience Partnership and be available and be accessible. Yes, here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, Ainsley.
Hi, Ainsley. This is Debbie. You're on speakerphone.
Hi, Ainsley. I was just starting here, so glad you're here. I'm just introducing myself. I'm the service provider and have a one-year contract along with Debbie and Ainsley and Parker Gassett to help the town of Bucksport, the town of Orland, and the town of Verona Island see how they can enroll in this opportunity to get community action grant funding for climate resilience initiatives, energy efficiency projects, greenhouse gas reduction projects. So tonight is really the first step. Debbie and I and Ainsley will go through the process of enrolling and talk about what the next steps are. So I've introduced myself, and I live part-time in Brooksville. And
You work for the state? Is the contract?
I have a
with the-
contract with the state,
Thank you.
yes, from the
Thank you.
Governor's Office of Policy Innovation in the
Thank
Future.
you.
So Debbie, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Ainsley, and then we'll go around the table here.
Sure.
Debbie?
My name's Debbie Grimmick. Currently, I live in Brooksville. I'm retired. I grew up in Dover Foxcroft, you can believe it. And so I'm a lifelong resident of Maine. Went to the University of Maine and spent most of my career working for the city of Auburn as a human resources director. And since I have retired, I helped out with the comprehensive plan for Brooksville, and since that time have assisted Alan with 5 communities on the peninsula. So this is kind of our second round of communities that we've been working with. In addition to that, I volunteer with the Brooksville Historical Society.
Right, we did those 5, so now we know what we're doing, and you get the benefit of that. Ainsley?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Ainsley. Super excited to be part of this team and this process. I've already had a great experience so far. I look forward to working with all of you. I am just finished my sophomore year at Bowdoin College, where I'm studying environmental studies, government and legal studies with a minor in psychology. So really interested in how, environment, policy, and people all connect. I am currently living and have spent the past few years in Kennybrook, Maine, and grew up in Orono, Maine. Also a lifelong Mainer, at least 20 years of Mainer, I suppose. And have pretty deep roots of family in Maine, care a lot about the natural resources here and the environment here. I also am a youth representative on the Community Resilience Working Group for the Maine Climate Council, so I've been doing that for the past year or so. And yeah, just really love any opportunity to get involved in community engagement. Working with people on these topics is definitely my passion. So, like I said, looking forward to working with all of you, and thanks for letting me call in. I'm currently in New Hampshire, so it's going to be about a 5-hour drive up there to make it tonight for 6. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ainsley. Why don't we go to you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Billings, and I am a resident of Bucksport, and I did grow up in Hancock County, so although I left for a short time and came back. I'm the executive director of Habitat for Humanity, and although that's not the real reason I'm here, I think it's actually pertinent because we are interested in energy efficient, green, fossil fuel free building, and I think that the housing crisis is exacerbated by climate change. I also am a volunteer for Choice V, which is a violence intervention programming group out of Ellsworth, and believe it or not, I also think that interpersonal violence is exacerbated by climate change. I am passionate about the environment. I am an obsessive compulsive bird watcher. I garden. I'm outside all the time, and have been in the past when I lived in southern Maine, was part of a community sustainability group where we just planned actions to, try to ameliorate the effects of climate change in our local community. So
Very good.
that's me.
Great. Yes.
Hi, I'm Don White. I'm a resident of Bucksport. I was born in Waterville and went to Waterville schools and went away to school, went to BU, and I've been a lifelong farmer. That's part of what I've done my entire life since I was 5 years old. And I'm a retired school teacher, and I've also worked for hospitals. I've had a kind of a couple careers. I've worked for hospitals. I'm old enough to watch climate change. I'm old enough to watch what's going on, and so I hold testament to that. I've been involved in some town stuff in Bucksport. I kind of keep an eye on the council and stuff that concerns me and interests me in town. So I live on the town farm road. I was planting tomatoes this afternoon.
Great. Good. Katrina?
Katrina Bisheimer. I live or have lived in Bucksport for like 20 years. And I am a psychiatric nurse, work on a geriatric unit, still work full time. But I feel like that on many levels gives me a very analytical mind, and I'm able to work collaboratively with people. I'm very passionate about the environment in Bucksport for all of us, not just my own little property and the birds there, but we're all connected. So very passionate about making it the best place to live for everybody. And if Bucksport, benefits, then I think the surrounding areas do too. So definitely looking forward to this.
Hi, my name is Steven Sinclair Jr., and I've lived here since I was 8, 1984. I'm heavily into climate science, electric vehicles, solar renewables. I own the local EV chapter here in Bucksport, and I'm always asking people to stop and why go to Bar Harbor when you can come to our slice of heaven here in Bucksport. I think that we need to bring the people here. I think it'd be a fantastic place for everybody to come and enjoy a walk on the waterfront. But we got to protect all our vital resources as best as we can for the next generation, for them to enjoy it. So, with that, I'd like to pass it
Go to
over
Tracy.
Tracy.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Hare. I live in Bucksport. I've lived in Bucksport for 18 years now. I'm on town council. For my day job, I'm a grant maker. I work at Maine Community Foundation, and I've also had experience with grant writing, and I'm excited about the prospect of chasing down money that we don't have to spend as taxpayers.
Right.
And I'm also really interested in solutions and frontline defense really for our industry here on the waterfront and other areas of Bucksport, as it relates to the rising the monsoon tides that we've been getting. So I'm just really here to participate as best I can.
Great.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Ken?
I'm John Goss. My wife Brandy and I live on the Silver Lake with our twin Addison and Trent. We're 16 years old. I originally grew up in Milford, moved to Brewer to finish high school, and from that point I came down to Bucksport. My grandparents lived in Bucksport, my aunt and uncles lived in Bucksport, my mother was raised in Bucksport. So I took up roots on the other side of the lake, which I didn't realize was actually a street over there. So, and I'm a 1993 graduate of Springfield College with a degree in sports business management. Very active in the youth athletic programs, but more importantly, interested in trying to be effective within the town with some ideas and such. I was kind of born into the politics, we'll say. My father was a long-term mayor of the city of Brewer, so I had a pretty good ringside seat to a lot of the improvements up there. And it's only natural that I try to continue the torch.
Very good. Ralph?
I'm Ralph Chapman. I've lived in Bucksport for only 4.5 years with my wife, but prior to that, I've lived in Hancock County for about 3 decades, a little over 3 decades, and my wife has me beat there. She was born in Castine when it was a hospital there, and then I served. Let's see, I'm an applied physicist. Much of my career has been research science. Some of my career has been in science education, and then the last section of my career is serving in the state legislature. The culture of scientists is dealing with facts and asking questions, and the culture of politicians is to deal with opinions and provide answers. So the two cultures don't mix well, but I'm one of those that tried to mix it. It was very difficult, but in any event, happy to lend a hand. The area of my research interest, technical interest, has been in energy, renewable energy, and energy efficiency. I trained energy auditors for the Maine State Housing Authority. I worked for a consultant to a Maine wind power developer. You might remember the wind turbine that was over there on the hill in Orland by the Blueberry processing plant. I ran that until it broke, and that's another story. And so I'm ready to lend a hand.
Great. And we're recording this, so if you would step up to the microphone. Is that one live, Rich?
It is.
Very
Is
good.
it?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
I'm Ben Pleward. I'm retired Army. I was Army Intelligence, Arabic linguist for the Army for 24 years. My area of expertise is linguistics and cultural relations. I'm not sure what I have to offer this council, except my career now is full-time pedestrian. I walk the streets of Bucksport. Although I'm the proud owner of a brand new EV, I'm a full-time walker. And I love this environment, and I'm here to tell you right now, I've lived in Bucksport for 2 years, and I've seen the water on this walkway encroach 2 feet higher in the 2 years that I've been here. Climate change is a real thing, and if I can contribute in some small, meaningless way, I'm glad to do so. But for right now, I will let the smarter people in the room handle it. Tell me where to move out and draw fire. I'll be happy to help execute.
I'm sure we all bring equal expertise.
Well, I'll do what I can, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that's me.
Do you care to say anything? Rich, you're the town representative, so
Yes, I'm Rich Rotella, the Community and Economic Development Director. Also oversee the waterfront and the marina and the playground and the trails and whatever the town needs. Grant writer, and happy to be part of this committee and look forward to working with all of you to obtain our goals. There's another, the town's got a SHIP grant as well. I think I've shared that with you, Alan, the folder on that, which is looking at resiliency of the waterfront walkway. So my thought is that both of these together, if this committee decides that it also wants to look at the walkway, both of those avenues can definitely help each other. I have invited everyone who I've had an email address for to a Google Drive that has a couple of the items we'll discuss tonight, the 72 actionable items, as well as the survey
right,
that we're gonna look at.
self-evaluation.
What I'd like to do when we move on to number 2, Alan, is play this video from the state of Maine
Sure.
that explains a little bit of what we're gonna be looking at in communities that have gone through this process.
And while you're queuing that up, I'll just say ship, correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't refer to a vessel. It refers to Shore and Harbor Planning Grant.
Shore and Harbor Improvement Grant.
Improvement Grant, yes. Too many acronyms.
Yeah.
turn up the volume.
Climate change is here, and we see it in different ways in different communities across the state.
You're talking to a retired science teacher, so yes, it's happening. Can we do something about it? Yes, if we act.
Where the action happens is in local communities.
It can be really hard to take big, bold steps towards resiliency and towards sustainability.
You can see how it took down the fort wall. Community Resilience Grant builds capacity in communities, and it starts with a commitment. Who is going to work on this? What project are you going to do, and how can we help fund it?
Thinking behind the partnership was that we didn't want to be telling communities what they had to do. We wanted to put the communities in the driver's seat and make the state a partner to the actions that they needed to take. This is a way that we can have these conversations. What are you seeing in your town? So, well, here's a solution that will help.
Yeah, I'd like to come out and check on it, get some pictures.
It's been inspiring to see communities really lean into the program and come up with different ways of using the funding that maybe we weren't expecting.
MSSM and the town of Limestone entered into a unique partnership. I don't know anything like it.
Well, this is the former Loring Air Force Base.
It's a municipality, a quasi-state public school joining forces to become owners and operators of our own solar project.
We call this Big Mac Farms. For us, we look at long-term planning as one of the most important things that we can do as a tribe.
The ultimate goal will be to have enough solar arrays here to operate the current farm and then also our expansion.
The goal in launching the Community Resilience Partnership was to have 100 communities participating. We're now up to 138.
When the tide gets up high, flow backs up.
Rising sea levels have made it difficult for our wastewater treatment plant to pump out treated sewage into the bay.
We're gonna be putting in a pump station.
Without the funding, we'd still be in the kind of panic. What are we going to do? How are we going to get funding for this?
There's a tradition of neighbors helping neighbors here. You know, if it's 20 below and your furnace goes out, we want people to know that they don't have to tough it out. You know, there are going to be options.
I was a child when the flood happened. I do remember it very well. So currently the river gauge that we have, it's old technology. We have to come down here to the pump house and check the river levels.
With the new monitoring system, it will contact us. It'll let us know where the river level is at.
One step closer to making the whole thing fully automated. That's our end goal.
The extreme projection of sea level rise. This grant was a perfect storm, pun intended, of opportunities coming together.
It's inevitable that change is happening. Understanding what those changes are and how they're going to impact us as well as our neighbors and these places that we care about is really important.
What we want to do is show people with visuals what we can expect and what we should be planning for.
I do think there's a lot of momentum right now. Communities are seeing that they know what they can do now, and they've got a pathway to do that.
Many of these community actions are things that these towns have been wanting to do for years, but they just never had the money.
The community resilience grants really tipped the scales and made it much easier for both entities to commit to a really ambitious school project.
We've got to all move in that direction and get these projects done so that we can make a difference.
Really exciting to see state and local governments starting to really step up and take some action, realizing that through community is how we're going to address these issues. That gives me a lot of hope for the future.
Thanks, Rich. Any thoughts? See some familiar things there? Yeah. So that's a very good preview of the Community Resilience Partnership, and these are towns that did community action grants, $50,000 for individual towns, $125,000 for towns that cooperate together. Up to 5 towns can collaborate on a regional project. So the Community Resilience Partnership really is available for municipalities. You heard Brian and Brett from the Governor's Office talk. It's more than 130 now. There's a 3-step process for Bucksport, for Orland, Verona Island to become enrolled. The first thing is to do basically a description of what's working, what's good in terms of climate science, climate change, efficiency already. It's the self-evaluation tool that Rich will put up on the screen in a minute. And then once you have figured out and really taken account of what works well and what's been doing well. We moved from description to prescription. What are the gaps, what are the things that need to be done in the future? And the tool for that, Rich, if you could just, I'm sorry, you're making me stand up. The tool for that is this list of, believe it or not, 72 actions that the Maine Climate Council has determined will advance energy efficiency, greenhouse gas reduction, community resilience in various sectors, whether it's transportation, buildings, community building, housing, all of these things. And each of these 72 actions qualifies for, and this is the important thing, Tracy, as the town councilor, no match funding. It's funding that doesn't require a 25% match or a 10% match, which is often a condition of federal and state funding. So that's why you can decide to do anything, but narrowing it to one of these 72 puts the town in a position to do an innovative project or maybe advance something that's already started that makes sense to achieve these goals. Does that all make sense? Is that a good introduction to that?
And I would say about an hour ago, for anyone who had an email address, these two documents, I shared the drive with you. You have viewing privileges that way, because these are live documents, so if anyone edits them.
Right.
So you'll have viewing only, but if there's any changes that you want made, myself, Alan, Debbie,
Right.
Ainsley can make those changes for you.
So I'll mention the third step, and then I'll go back to the first step. The third step then is once you as a group have discussed among yourselves and then go on to a wider community workshop where the broader community is brought in for discussion. Once the community, and we did this in Orland a couple Saturdays ago, we had 17 people and good representation. Once you do that in Bucksport, then the next step would be for you to say, you know, we think these are 3 to 5 priorities for the town of Bucksport. We're going to go to the town council and ask them to officially appoint you as the committee to then be the liaison with town council, and that's the enrollment step. And then the enrollment form goes to the governor's office. It's very pro forma. They then say, yes, the town of Bucksport is enrolled, and now you can apply for the funding. So that's the process that goes forward. So, Rich and I thought that given the time tonight, you might want to get started on filling out this community self-evaluation tool in real time. And Rich is willing to type in this dynamic document. Maybe go to the next screen, Rich. This is just the first page here, but if you go to the next, yes,
I
please.
just have a question,
Sure.
Alan. You said, how is the council is involved? We go to the council for,
So-
get their, what is it,
So the council.
their approval? Are they the ones that sign off on this stuff?
Yeah, it's the town council or the select board and other municipalities, it's the governing body that then asks the state for enrollment, to be enrolled.
So do they have the final say, does the council have the final say on what this committee may choose to decide?
Yeah, I mean, the way I've always seen it work, it's a very collaborative process. It's, you know, you will want to involve them,
Yeah.
Tracy's on already, and I anticipate what I've seen in every other town, there's the collegial coming together of those.
Thank
Tracy,
you.
does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So would it be correct to assume that we will work in conjunction with the council, but the actual authority lies within the council?
That's something you can decide. Typically, select boards and town councils have quite a bit to do, and I think they're probably happy to designate and delegate that all to you with your expertise. And I've heard a lot of expertise tonight in many different sectors. It's very exciting to hear that. And then you would roll that up to the council and have collaboration. I mean, you know best how that works here in town, but.
We did elect them, so.
Yeah.
I would think of it done like the Heart and Soul, how that process was. Tracy just happens to be the council representative for us and potentially our voice, but all of us could be at those council meetings when we say, hey, we've come up with from this survey here, we'd like the council to apply for the no matching grant.
You're not eligible without a council sign-on. I was reading the NOFO, or whatever you call
The
it.
NOFO.
NOFO. There's no eligibility unless you have council support
Yeah.
on the application.
Overall endorsement.
Yeah, just like with any other project that's brought to
Right.
council,
Right.
a permit or,
Sure.
you know.
You're encumbering the town, and you
Yeah.
have to be the administrator of it. So,
Hmm.
good. So I think this is, Rich, is this?
Is this the page, or do you want me on the next page?
Yeah, so this is the one, right above it, right
Right.
above it on page one, at the very bottom. So what are the two things that your community is doing well, and you don't have to pick, you don't have to narrow it down to two tonight. This is a process of gathering information from all of you. What would you say Bucksport is doing well in terms of climate resilience, or energy efficiency, or greenhouse gas reduction? What do you already see going well?
I see a lot of solar projects going on. If we could only increase that,
Okay.
I think that'd be great.
What else is, go ahead, John. I thought you were going to speak.
Well, I will in time.
Okay, go ahead, I'll give you time. I'll let
I
you
think
run it.
just addressing the overall issue and bringing people together is probably the biggest thing that the town is doing.
The fact that you're meeting.
The fact that we're
Yeah.
meeting, and it was open to anybody that was willing to put their hat in the ring, and
Mhm.
Yep.
everyone's here for the right reason. And
Yeah.
Chargers.
Chargers,
Yes.
yep.
Steve,
Yeah.
I didn't wanna steal your thunder, man.
That's okay.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Good chargers
The
down.
more we
We
don't
need more
stop the
chargers.
fight until there's a charger for every EV in Bucksport.
Exactly, we have 5 right now.
Get those EVs going.
Yep, exactly.
The big fear with EVs is the fear of the lack of infrastructure.
That's
Right.
The range
That is the
anxiety,
prevailing
yep.
fear.
Yep.
You
I agree.
mitigate that fear by making sure the infrastructure's in place.
Yeah, whether it be DC fast chargers, level 1s or level 2s, we gotta really help people realize that they can charge at home, they can
Yep.
charge at the grocery store or the bank. Let's get after it.
Sherry, what do you sense? Bucksport is
I
doing
know
well?
that one of the things that we're doing is, we're in the process, we're talking about creating a community garden.
Oh,
And
Okay.
that's something that I think is beneficial. And I know, the town has invested in making sure that we're able to do some level of repair to homes of elderly folks, which in some cases, I've discovered that once we did the repairs, that aligned people with another program from another agency that helped them get weatherization services that they couldn't have gotten without the repairs ahead of time. So there's that sort of thing happening.
So you're really stacking these things together, works, one
Be-
leverages
yes,
the
because
other.
we have to,
Yeah,
because
right.
nobody has enough resource.
Yep.
Yep.
Gene, I think I saw you, were you ready to comment?
No.
Okay. John?
Just to piggyback on the solar expansion thing, the town has done a reasonable job, I think, at the Public Works building and up here with the wastewater facility. But one of the things that was talked about, and actually there was a committee to start, was the investigation of a fairly large solar farm behind the transfer station, whether the old landfill behind the transfer station could be used for such a purpose. And then the pandemic hit and the energy for that was lost. But there's an opportunity that the town originally had looked at to take a serious look at that kind of.
Some initial thinking that can be revived,
Yeah,
perhaps,
yeah,
as this group
yeah,
decides. Yeah.
How energy is created and how much energy is used is just.
Ralph, any thoughts?
Yes, I had the advantage of looking over this, and one of the things that caught my eye was a regional watershed look at protecting water quality. And I say regional because, of course, the watershed doesn't know the political boundaries of the townships. But we're aware of some of the threats to our water quality and access to our water, and I think that that's an area that is a ripe area for further consideration.
Very good.
If I could just add a couple. I think our investment in the wastewater treatment plant upgrade was a good step in the right direction. Rich will likely attest to this, our commitment to recreation in town. That's the walking trails, et cetera. There is a fair amount of what we would call non-motorized type of recreation.
Sure. Good. Tracy?
I mean, sort of echoing what everybody said and perhaps adding just a consciousness about alternative sources of energy from heat pumps in the buildings and the public buildings. And that those are older now, but really early consciousness and awareness. And the fact that the town is having this discussion now and soon after some of the rising water this year, like in January.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
The town's reaction was quick and
Yes.
response to participate is quick. So I think.
Reflecting pool right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I add one?
Please.
And it's not something that's really changing, but it's something that is, for me, it's unique about this community in that, and it kind of piggybacks on what John said, we have a very walkable community, and that's
Yes,
not
we do.
true
Yes,
in
we
lots
do.
of places.
Yeah.
You can get around this town on foot and get things that you need without a vehicle, if
And will
you
you
have
also
to.
add safely? I always feel safe.
Yeah.
I
Feel
Yes.
pedestrian safety.
Yes. At night, I mean, I think we could use some better lighting, but
Yeah.
Vouch for
that's a
my
whole other
safety at
thing.
night, but retired soldier, I don't scream victim, like I don't have that vibe.
Sure.
People would think twice before, I would think twice before tangling with somebody
Yeah.
medium build, medium size, like that's just not an easy target.
Yeah,
But for the smaller folks and, I can see how that would be a concern.
I was
at
using
night.
safety in the concept of good pedestrian crossings, wide sidewalks, well demarcated
Yes.
curbing
Yep.
and all of that, so. it's-
Sidewalks are all well
Coming
lit.
soon.
Yeah.
Theater nights,
So,
maybe.
could we move to the next question? I think, are there a couple of things that could be improved in the short term? Are there any things that you would initially think about?
More awareness that we have chargers in Bucksport,
Okay.
because not a lot of people realize that we have chargers in town. And I mean, I try to tell people, come and charge here and shop and eat. And I think it'd be fantastic if people knew about this, like through TV ads, news stories. I don't know, it would be a real eye catcher. So.
Curious what your definition of short-term is, based on, and my response would be
It's a great
based on
question.
that. Is short-term 5 years or
I was,
5 days?
no,
or
I was thinking more like 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year to start.
Well, the reason I say that is, we're looking at applying for a community action grant within this year, and I think there's sort of a preference in the funding cycle to do things that can be implemented, and not just put off, or not deferred, but are ready. We use the word shovel-ready often. I don't use that, but we hear that a lot, so. Let's for the purpose of tonight, say 1 year.
So, 1 year, I think on people's minds is the landfill, but that's not our property, so it's not something we can talk about, but I certainly think the waterfront is something that we've got a significant part of it closed.
Right.
It's well used, loved
And
by the
which has
community.
some money.
And it has some money already, and it affects a lot of different aspects of the town's forward mobility as far as the people who live here and its walkability, the tourism season, visitors from away. So it has a lot of,
Economic impact to retail.
for sure, and it's kind of low-hanging fruit because it's already been hit twice. If you're talking that 1 year timeframe.
Okay.
So if I could piggyback on that statement, I have more of an opinion than anything else. We do have a gem of a waterfront. The town was very committed to developing it, but in order to sustain it, I think the current height of the waterfront is unsustainable. And riprap probably isn't gonna be the best long-term solution to upgrade for ADA accessibility. The paving stones are highly maintenance exhaustive.
Yep.
There's,
And as soon as we get them fixed back up, we get another
And there's-
influx.
the
Within
town only
the
has-
next season, next storm season, boom.
so there's
We
only
get
so
half of
many
it washed out.
resources the town has to continuously put Band-Aids on that. But if we were able to entertain a more long-term solution of perhaps sheet piling along the waterfront to keep the tides, et cetera, at bay, we might also be able to upgrade a paved surface, which would be safer, multi-season use,
More sustainable.
So the
and more sustainable, and in the long term, less costly for maintenance.
So the short-term aspect of that would be the planning, the thinking, the engineering, the concept analysis, the alternatives analysis, though for a longer-term solution up beyond 1 year. Yes, John?
The, we talk about energies, how do we create energy, whether it be alternative methods or not. One of the things that we really don't discuss a lot is how do we conserve energy? How do we reduce it? We actually reduce. So I think a serious energy audit and somebody telling or advising on how we can reduce our energy use. I think until we get to that level, this energy stuff is just gonna, you know, it all production of energy creates problems, no matter what it is.
And the we in your sentence is residents, businesses,
Yes.
the
A
town, anybody.
program on, it's hard to do, it's hard to get people to understand that, but until we get that into the culture a little
Yep.
more, we're gonna continue to bang our heads, because the production of energy brings problems,
Yep.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
So we, a community-wide audit kind of thing, and
Okay.
how to, yeah.
We can fill in more of this, and I'll just make a process suggestion here. This will be on the shared drive, and Rich, people can go in and add things to this.
I can change everybody from viewer to editor.
Right. And
Just,
that
just don't
way-
delete something someone else put in. Please.
This is an
Feel free to add.
this is an additive exercise, and then what we'll do at our next meeting is narrow it down and
Okay.
move that to the list of 72 actions. But this is a really good start to brainstorm these things.
Can I, really quick
Please.
show them a couple of things that
Yes.
they might not be aware of?
Please.
So as we talk about energy, the town has Solar Ray, and I have access to one of the energy producers. It's the one for the town garage. So on the economic development page, you can find Solar Edge and the monitoring, and this will show you the megawatts that our array, simply the one at the town garage. It's the old program under Governor LePage. The 9 medium-sized accounts are the ones that are impacted, so you're talking waterfront, town garage, some of the recreational facilities. So 2022 was a great year for energy from those solar panels. As you can see, we're coming on our 7th year, so the town has to make a decision at some point whether to purchase or to continue to lease under the former program. The solar panels at the wastewater treatment plant were part of the grant that the town got for the upgrades to the wastewater, and that's used to help with the cost of electricity. It goes back towards that plant, so I don't have access to that. But the other thing I have access to is the electric vehicle chargers. I can pull any type of reports. I have them delivered to myself every Sunday. But this is an example of what I see. The town has 2 that the town runs, both located at the town dock. Each have a number.
Warren's, right?
I'm sorry?
Warren.
The ones right by Warren's, yes,
Yes.
that's correct. So, 2 BVs, it tells you the revenue, the charging sessions, and the kilowatts of electricity delivered, and total energy consumptions as well. So, these 2 are accessible and available to the public, through, like I said, through the town's website. There are also others. There were 2 new chargers installed up on Franklin Street at the
Yep.
Spofford Lodge. And then there is a 5th one, which was actually the first one in town by Bucksport House of Pizza, that the town gave a public parking space to the
Yep.
owner of PowerWise
Karsten.
to install a EV on his building that is free of charge for the public. He pays for the electricity, the town maintains the parking spot. So it's a good public-private partnership right there. So those are two tools that the community has access to.
That
that we
should be
get.
added to our things that community is doing
Yeah,
right.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
For real.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what you need to do, incentivize.
Incentivize the way to come over and.
Show the handshake
Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
community and the people
Yeah,
who
that
run
can
it.
be added to the very first question. Good.
Yep.
Can I add one other item?
Yes, sir.
Please, not to take the floor too much here, but
We're
I
glad you
think,
do.
Chair, you touched on the landfill and the runoff, et cetera.
I don't think that was me, I think it might have been.
I think it's
Oh,
Tracy.
Tracy,
Oh,
okay.
Tracy, okay.
So, Rich, you might be able to answer this yourself, but aren't there cradle to grave responsibilities for the chemicals and such that are within that landfill? And was that purchased by AIM when they took over the property, or should that fall back on the producers of the chemicals originally, who, by law, is cradle to grave ownership?
I don't know the answer
So
to
if-
that.
So I would actually prioritize the safety and well-being of the citizens in the area to remediate that issue.
That's a waste, that's a drinking water quality issue?
Mhm.
Is that
Drinking water
an umbrella
quality,
term?
runoff quality,
Okay.
the list goes on, but
Would you say
It
that
has
would
a
be long-term?
complication, cause
I think it's,
the town doesn't own the land.
Right.
so no, I wouldn't classify it as long-term because the need for action is immediate.
Mhm. Okay.
And identifying who is ultimately responsible for the remediation and hold them to the fire to get that resolved.
Right. So that would be, yes, getting information so that this issue can be addressed appropriately.
Well,
And understanding that there are different ownership and responsibility issues. It's not clearly,
Right, I think we need to define who owns the cradle to grave responsibilities.
Right now, they have an enforcement order from DEP to clean it up and close it. And that, what's the date on that, Don,
the plan has to be January 1, and it has to be completed. Again, it's up in the air. There's a dance that goes along with decisions with the DEP and state and big corporations. To answer John's question, I believe that the way it's done traditionally is the owner, i.e. AIM, is the one responsible for taking care of the toxic pollutants that are floating right as you look down that river. So I think that's the thing, but there is a deadline now that has been imposed, but there's a lot going on, John. Please, stay in tune
I
and
just
get
didn't know what
involved.
disclaimers they may have signed when they purchased the.
Yes.
but I think the overriding comment here is making sure there's quality groundwater, drinking water.
Yeah, and right now, they're supposed to be testing the water for local inhabitants there and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but in long term, it goes down.
And
So, what, in the long term, to use a phrase, would be important for Bucksport to be addressing? In terms of climate issues, energy efficiency, greenhouse gas reduction, and then what would be priorities for your community? You can see where Rich is queuing us up here on the screen.
Okay, solar and battery storage, possibly, 'cause like.
To be a resource for what,
So-
disaster relief or?
Yeah, that too as well. If like the power cuts out completely statewide, you'd still be able to possibly, run a restaurant, because we got the House of Pizza, which has solar on top. So you use a generator that will keep the lights on, keep whatever else needs to be on, in case of an emergency. Because
Talking
people
about
have.
clean redundant backup.
Exactly.
Very good,
So-
clean
I got you.
redundant backup.
I like that, yeah. So it'd be kinda nice to have, you know, our stores and our restaurants, continue working, cause I know a lot of people rely on their job to pay for the bills, so it'd be kinda cool to have that keep going so that people can come in and eat dinner or whatever.
Good.
I think it's a, did someone have their hand up?
No, go ahead.
I find that one a hard one to answer because I feel like each community has a different experience of the climate challenge. More wind, more rain, more freeze, more thaw. And I think it's difficult to, we're just focusing on the water rising, but there's probably other components that are important for us to think about as a town.
Well,
don't
what
know.
have you experienced? I mean, are summers warmer, hotter?
By far.
Winds, guys. Wind
Wind,
damage. has been-
insects,
I'm sorry?
insects,
Yeah.
different forms of,
Right.
Yeah.
of course.
Ticks, yeah.
Absolutely, it's a,
Yep,
it's a
exactly,
phenomenon,
yep.
yes.
So it's really across all sectors.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insect infestation, it's wind,
Mhm.
storms are coming from a different direction.
Yeah, so we get
Yeah.
more freeze and rain than we do
Right.
snowpack.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no
Right,
kidding.
right.
Especially this winter.
And then the ground doesn't freeze, so loggers can't
Mhm.
go harvest timber.
The freeze
That
and
may
rain
not be an issue in
requires
Bucksport, but
additional salt.
But
Right.
wind resilience, I mean, I've noticed it,
Mhm.
you know, I've noticed the amount of wind is increasing.
Yes.
So it seems
If
Definitely
you haven't
increasing.
taken a walk down Miles Lane this spring,
Yeah.
you will see it looks like a tornado
Yeah.
And
went through it.
one of the things too is that, like, if you're wealthy and you can afford a generator, great, but as a community,
Yes.
Mhm.
it should be, there should be something for folks to go to, like investing in something that supports the community versus being an individual responsibility.
Yep.
And it's the wind that has taken out our many times this past winter.
Power,
Yeah, power.
comms.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So,
So Trini, you raised two things. One is the whole equity issue, you know, the social resilience for everybody in town.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think all of you have mentioned is taking a holistic look at every impact of climate change. It's not just water out here,
mhm.
it's all of these things. And Sherry, you really kicked this off in the right way, looking at how all of these things are interrelated. I mean, I hear people say housing's not a climate issue, but it is.
It
is,
sure is.
100%.
Well, you
And it's interesting, I'm looking here, on my phone in really tiny print, I'm looking at some of the actions,
Yeah.
you know, the 72 actions, and there are things that I didn't think of here. And I think about this stuff fairly broadly, I thought. But identifying and plan to reduce public health threats in the community that are exacerbated by climate change.
Mhm.
That's like all of the public health threats, right?
Mhm.
That's mental health, that's substance use disorder, that's all of it.
Ticks and
Yeah.
lice.
So how do you
Exactly.
help people whose properties have been damaged with business? What's their, it's the mental or psychological impact of that, the stress of that,
Mm-hmm.
that we don't think about.
Yep.
We think about rebuilding, putting in a new pier, but how about one's social resilience or well-being?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think that's, I think you've really identified a very important thing here.
Yeah. Also, economic opportunity. I mean, people who harvest cedar logs now are not able to find cedar at
Right.
all, and
Mm.
people make a living from selling
Right.
some of those products for houses.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of economic opportunity, or I wouldn't say it's opportunity, I wouldn't
It's
call
a
it that.
gap, it's an opportunity gap, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, yeah, livelihood interruptions, things like that.
Which, in my mind, also does, involves the issue of who are we training to do what? What's workforce training mean for us?
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Who are we training to do what and how?
So I don't claim to be an environmental expert by any means, and I'm not here to throw any stones towards the EV push. I think if it's done responsibly with recyclable materials, we because we have to look at the long term, if we're talking about the landfill and such.
Mhm.
EVs bring about disposal questions, that if we can continue the,
Right,
But-
how do we balance, you know, EVs with offshore wind? How do we get a power grid that is clean to power the electrical, you know, that becomes a big issue.
Well,
There's some
also,
competing challenges there.
you also can use EV batteries to power your home in
Right.
an event of a severe weather storm, or, you know, you can go off grid with the EV batteries, so, when there's that reusability, so.
Clean, redundant backup.
Yep, exactly, so there's a benefit of EV batteries, so.
Right. So we're 10 minutes from 7 o'clock, and we'll do a hard stop at 7. We want to
Okay.
respect everybody's time. I think that a couple of things would be important to discuss. When would you like to meet next? How would you like to finish this self-assessment? We've really primed the pump here tonight. Rich can make this, and we'll make this available for you to go in and, you know, add your own thoughts. I'm
Okay.
sure you've already jumped to the 72 list. That's been very helpful. And that may inform the self-evaluation tool. And then I would suggest taking a look, to do an initial look at these 72 actions before our next meeting, so that our next meeting, we could finish off the self-evaluation tool. What Debbie and I can do is, Rich has keyed in your comments. As you key in other comments, we'll distill all of that for you at the next meeting, so you have it before the next meeting. And then the agenda for the next meeting would be to identify that consensus and then move to the 72 actions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sounds good to me.
So if that makes sense, I think it would be good to give ourselves 2 weeks to do that, so
Okay.
that you have time, maybe 3 if you want it. I know, you know, June gets to be a very busy month, so
Mhm.
you tell Debbie and me and Ainsley what works for you. And then let's set another meeting time when we can gather again and move to the 72 actions. And the other thing that we should do is plan for a concentric circle. So what do you envision as the best way of gathering input from other members of the community who are not here tonight? Paying particular attention, Trina, to people who are socially vulnerable, people who are the first and worst to be affected by climate change, or
Mhm.
the last and least to benefit from what we're doing. And the more we can focus on that, and you're the experts on that as a group, that will make a very compelling enrollment form for the state. It will make a very compelling, that will make very compelling grant applications, because more and more, Tracy, funders are looking at how programs are reaching out to disadvantaged populations. Is that?
Yeah.
is this document here, could there be a side document for public recommendations, opinions, et cetera,
Yes.
outside of
Yeah.
our group? So those suggestions could be brought forward and
Right, the agenda for the community resilience meeting will be to bring in all those ideas, and then you as the committee will look at those and see what fit with what you've already thought about, what will fit with this. And, you know, you can always apply for funding from other programs or even the state without getting a local match. So you're not restricted to 72 actions. If there's something better, but, you know, the advantage of this is it has no local match. So in the 7 minutes that remain, what is a good time for this group to meet again, for us to meet again with you? Does this day of the week work? Does this time of day work? Trina?
Just my one consistent day off, because I rotate my schedule, is Wednesdays.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Wednesday works for me.
That's fine.
Not being selfish, but usually I.
No, you're being very protective of the committee. I think that's perfect.
Wednesdays usually, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Wednesdays usually work for me. I'm open. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's just what we want to get a calendar that works for everybody. Rich, does that work for you?
Most of my meetings are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Ah, well.
Wednesdays work great.
We'll take your only free day.
Yeah.
I myself
Same.
work-
Duplicate.
I myself work rotating shift work with a large overtime requirement, but if I have a time that I'm aware of in advance,
Okay.
I can, like to make those arrangements.
It sounds like Wednesday is a good day.
Mhm.
And I'm not looking for, I'm looking solely at what the next Wednesday, what our next Wednesday meeting would be. Today is the 29th, and then we,
The 12th. You said 2 weeks?
yeah, I'm not gonna be available. I'm not gonna be available, I have to go to a birthday party for a very, very dear friend, and it's way out of town. I'm not available on the 12th, except by Zoom.
And the 19th is Juneteenth, so I don't know.
So what is after the 19th?
The 26th.
26th. Is that too far away, or does that give us enough time? What do you all think?
Sounds good to me.
What's the funding schedule for the fall?
Very good.
That's a good question.
So we have 3 steps to do. We get enrolled, and we've talked about that. And then what we'll do is prepare a community grant application. That round will open up probably in September. So, if we come to a conclusion of what the priorities are in late June, that gives us July and August to get a grant ready. Rich, what do you
And
think?
partner potentially with Orland
Right.
or Rhode
Right.
Island. Will this put us a little bit behind where they are, or?
I
I'm
don't-
not saying we'll have the same things, but
I'm glad you raised that, and actually Debbie and I are going to be meeting, and he's going to be meeting with Orland at 7:30 tonight via Zoom. So they are interested. They haven't picked a project yet, but they are interested in regional collaboration. And I've
Okay.
heard that from you. I heard it from your board, your council rather, the first night that we were here. So it doesn't disadvantage us. It tells us that if Debbie and I and Ainsley see a convergence of ideas, then it probably makes sense to have a collaborative meeting with those others.
And for clarification, if there's not a convergence of ideas, are we enrolling as one entity, so our cap would be 50,000 for the project?
So every town will enroll on its own,
On its
irrespective of the
own.
other.
Oh, okay,
They
I
don't-
see.
It doesn't have to be a
Got it.
group, that's not in the card, that's not
Got
how we
it.
set up. The collaboration comes solely when you look for funding.
Got it.
So the advantage of collaboration with other towns is more money?
Yeah, or economies of scale. An example, the town of Blue Hill and Brooksville applied, and they got $125,000 to do a climate vulnerability assessment. Surrey, during the same grant round, had applied to do a community vulnerability assessment. They got 50. Through an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, the 3 towns put all of their money together and then used that economy of scale to hire a consulting firm that is now working across all 3 towns.
To figure out their vulnerability
yeah.
to climate, just for a study, is that what you're saying?
A study, and each town is getting a value of $15,000 pilot project, concept design. So in Surrey, it'll be for Newbury Neck Road, the peninsula there.
Yeah.
It'll be for a culvert in Blue Hill and a culvert in Brooksville.
Okay.
So that's, I'm not opposing on you, but that's what 3 towns have done.
And is it possible to have a regional project as well as a separate local project?
They're mutually exclusive. Okay. I mean, the town can't go in for 50 and then also join others.
Right.
And it's just to spread the money around.
But wouldn't it, I would assume it'd be favorable in the state's eyes with collaboration amongst neighboring communities as well.
They look at that very favorably, because we know that the climate doesn't respect our town boundaries.
So what I did, just for, if anyone would like to, if you're online, I just did a Google search of Maine Community Resilience Partnership. It brings me right to the state's website, Future Climate Community Resilience Partnership. What Alan's talking about now, currently we're under the service provider grant. 0 cost to the town for Alan, Debbie, and Ainsley's service. We're now looking to go to the community action grant up to $50,000, and there's webinars on here from past meetings, the next round, program statement and application forms, anything that you want to look at. And like I said, it was a simple Google search I did. That video I showed you is also on this website. Testimonials from other towns. There's a map of where some of the other communities who, and I don't know what the green and, the blue is a direct partner and green is a service provider. So we're currently in green as a service provider. But the blue direct partner, Alan, that means they have gotten the grant already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're well represented in Hancock County, and so let me put something before you in terms of our schedule. You know, I'm perfectly willing to have you all meet, and I can join in by Zoom on the 12th if you want to move that. And you know, I think you can have that discussion yourself if that's timing makes sense. Otherwise, as Tracy points out, the Juneteenth is 19th, so that's not good. If you feel eager and not want to wait till the end of June, I would suggest the 12th, and it's up to you. And I think, you know, I can talk with Ainsley and Debbie. Debbie and Ainsley can facilitate the meeting. And I can zoom in if it's your preference.
Sounds good to me.
The 12th?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
The
we can't really
momentum.
go off the rails with one meeting without you here, so
Well-
I think it'll at least keep things
Momentum going.
moving.
Okay.
And
Very good.
what do you think?
I'll be away, but I'm willing
Oh.
to, like, join by Zoom or
Yeah, okay.
phone or whatever.
Let's do that.
What about?
I can be there in person.
Oh,
Ainsley,
yeah.
I forgot
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Excuse me.
Yes.
I was looking at Sherry, and then a different voice came from somewhere different.
I do that sometimes. No, I can be there, and I think that I think that's the best
Yeah.
plan given the timeline that we're looking at.
And let me
I'd like to
just
get
say,
started.
Ainsley is a very good facilitator. She's done that in southern Maine, and I've seen her. She did that for Orland, so you're in good hands with Ainsley and Debbie.
Awesome.
She's a great listener.
She's a good
To be fair, I knew she didn't hang up because that thing never beats, so.
Oh.
All right, it's
Thank
in
you,
the
Ainsley.
calendar.
So it's June 12th?
June 12th.
June 12th, good.
Okay.
Thank you, Ainsley.
Same time, 6?
Yeah. 6 o'clock works.
Okay. It's in.
And Ainsley,
Yeah,
you said
that works.
you'll be here, right?
Yes, I can be there in person.
Very good.
Can I share one last item?
Please.
So I would just like to make a disclaimer. I do work for Sprague Operating Resources. We are a large marine cargo terminal. I am not here in any way, shape, or form as a representative of our company. I'm simply here as a citizen of Bucksport. We are a large player in the offshore wind potential as well as the current windmills. But my interest within this lies from a personal perspective, and that's where my priority will stay, and I'm not an official representative.
And I think that goes, thank you,
Same.
John, goes for everybody. We mention these for identification only, not for representation or standing.
Except for Rich. He is
Except for
kind of
Rich.
representing his position.
Rich, so.
I'm here to type.
Well, so you'll make that available, you'll send that out to everybody, and look forward to the meeting on the 12th. And I'm very excited. This is a really great group of expertise and experience, and that makes a lot of sense.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, well, perfect.